The 2015-16 season. Where did it all go wrong? Article dated May the 3rd, 2016. Part 1. The Managers. So, as the dust settles on yet another eventful season for the Shaymen, brackets do we ever really get one that isn't? And once again, Halifax Town find themselves in the Conference North following the club's first ever actual demotion from the conference due to football reasons. As many will remember, over the years, Town have scraped through by the skins of their teeth on numerous occasions, most famously as Mick Norbury scored a hat-trick, followed up by Jeff Horsfield sealing the victory with the last kick of the 1996-97 season. Chris Wilder's Shaymen flirted with the bottom four 3 seasons during his tenure. One survived, the ill-fated 07-08 season, when the club was docked 10 points, but still held on to their conference status. Many supporters are rightly asking, what had really changed since then? We're once again at the bottom end and meant to be now debt-free, so where do we go from here? In an attempt to try and answer and add some of the major issues being dissected by supporters on social media, I wish to compile a list of the main topics being discussed and try answer as impartially as possible. While I do run the Shaymen Stats account as professionally as I possibly feel able, at heart I am a Town supporter like all of you. I love this club, I love talking about this club. I'm glad that some of you guys enjoy the content I post and enjoy hearing feedback on it and the discussions that come with it. So, who's to blame? Neil Aspin. For many reasons, or for many, it is Aspin's nucleus of the squad that has got Town relegated. So irrelevant of the attempts of Darren Kelly and Jim Harvey, the sword should fall on the North-Easterner. I would tend to agree with the signings of Hamza Ben Sharif and Kingsley James. For me, Aspin had signed up 2 of the 3 major opposition players that really impressed me in the 2014-15 conference season. The other player was a defender, number 26 for Eastleigh, a South Islander-sounding surname usually associated with the sport of rugby league. Alarm bells rang, however, as the team sauntered through pre-season, and at the Stockport County friendly on the 18th of July, but for County's woeful finishing in front of goal, we would have been on the end of a hiding. Then again, the Shaymen played League 2 York City off the park a few weeks later at the Shay. In hindsight, of course, York are now relegated, but at the time it gave the supporters some hope. Jake Hibbs scored a great free kick and has developed into a player, along with Josh McDonald, that this club simply has to keep. Many supporters believed Aspin should have left at the end of the 14-15 season and pinpointed correctly that something within the club changed the evening that Town faced Wrexham in the FA Trophy quarter-final in January. Breaking up a squad that had successfully disposed of Dartford the Saturday before 3-1, debuting 4 new players, the team lost any consistency and put talented striker Scott Bowden out in the cold. He went from scoring 12 goals up to January to managing only 1 goal for the next 4 months. This was cushioned by the team as Lois Maynard continued to score regularly, with the likes of Jamie Jackson and Matt Pearson adding vital strikes in games. We also lost 12-goal Richard Pennickett for the season, and some of next in February, which would not help matters. Teams slipping from almost being a shoo-in for the playoffs once more to finding themselves in mid-table. For me personally, even taking away his 2 titles and 1 playoff win in the leagues below, Neil Aspin has still delivered playoff football in the 13-14 season, and if the squad had won a few more of the games in the second half of the year, he would have repeated the feat. Town as a part-time club more than exceeding expectations in doing that. We were top until the end of September 2014 too. It started to slip away after Mark Roberts wrongfully had a header chalked off for a foul in the last minute at Macclesfield. Ironically, when coupled with this year, brackets more to follow, it was Aspin bringing too many new faces to the club in January that disrupted the apple cart. He deserved another crack in the 2015-16 season to put the second half of last season right, and with the signings he had made, it seemed we were in for another good year. The club for me let him go at the right time. They gave him 10 games which yielded 1 win and many games, whether viewed as a positive or a negative, where Town had to come from behind against average sides such as Bromley and Kidderminster to gain just 1 point. Barrow had us at arm's length until the final 10 minutes when we scored 3 to win. The shocking loss at Guiseley, the first time Town had led in the game, and in that season thanks to a CJ Hamilton strike early in the first half, along with a host of other chances, some hitting woodwork, had many thinking a corner had been turned. The second half display was abysmal, and we let the game slip, and the lead slip. The board sacked Aspin at the right time. Darren Kelly. All agree he is simply not a football manager. Would make a wonderful youth team coach or in a supporting role, but not a full manager of a senior team. Once again in the league, Kelly got 1 win in his 7 games in charge, conceding 36 goals in all competitions. From 2-0 up versus Guiseley at home, this time in the FA Cup, we blew that lead and needed extra time at Nevermore to overcome them. Simply not good enough. What few people have not properly acknowledged, though, is he brought Nicky Rowe to the club. Again, more to follow. And Tommy Miller, who started to steady the ship in midfield. Although many agree Matt Glennon had been the club's most solid keeper since 2008, he finally put him out to pasture. Glennon was simply too old. That is not knocking him, he has been a wonderful servant to this club, but once we saw what Griffiths, and more so Johnson later, all knew it was a correct decision. In defence, he did bring in Nat Brown, and what a joke decision that turned out to be, of course. I'm not saying he got it totally right, but he did make some steps to improve areas of the playing side, albeit the results were truly awful. The team scored goals under him, but unfortunately they hemorrhaged them at the back, with Cheltenham and Grimsby helping themselves to 7 each. Braintree got 6. The Braintree game prompted me to declare I would not follow our club while Kelly was at the helm. Luckily the club binned him off following that embarrassment. Jim Harvey. The toughest aspect to dissect in this affair. Before I start, in case I get sidetracked and forget, I would happily have him at the helm next season. I think everything considered he would be a good candidate. He has been around this level of football for a while, and I would hope he had good contacts to call upon. A few questions to get it stuck into, though. How much of a role did he have in the circus that was Kelly's reign? As his assistant manager, one would think a great deal. Nobody knows, but for me, if Kelly was using him properly, there would have been no way we would have played the way we did. We were shipping goals left and right, and the first thing Harvey got the team doing once he took over was shoring up the back line, which worked. Many are still sceptical of the Northern Irishman due to his association with that period of the season, but things did change once he was at the helm. Why did he not dip into the transfer market in January? Town in this period beat playoff chasing Lincoln, Wrexham and Macclesfield, plus Dover 4-2, who were actually a playoff candidate now, and Gateshead 4-1, this game with 10 men for more than an hour. And with what we had. He brought in Sam Johnson on loan until the end of the season, eventually, and got Rowe on a permanent deal. Who else did we need? He had got defence playing better, midfield worked well, he brought Sam Walker in from the cold, and Kingsley James started chipping in with goals. Burrow's form dropped under Harvey, but during his early reign, that did not matter with James Tutton and even Rowe chipping in with goals consistently. When Tutton left with 2 days until the transfer window shut in, the team lost its main spark and goal outlet. The club claimed they gave Harvey funds to use in the window. I should hope they did. I believe Harvey said he had one lined up that fell through at the last minute, but again, when we are playing as well as we did in December/January, as I've already said, who else did we need? The previous year we got bodies in and that caused the downfall of that season. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Cynics would say you should have found a balance between the two, but I bet it's an absolute nightmare to balance or get right. We got Shaquille McDonald in from Championship Derby County, and not just any Championship side, but one at the time and now are gunning for the Premier League. Okay, he's a youth player, but it must be something for them. He must have something to have them on their books. He's quick, he's got a good leap on him and a killer finish when in the right position. Ran around a lot pointlessly, but he's young and a reason like a club like Derby County are farming him out. Look at the crucial goals he scored though. Got us started versus Tamworth in the FA Trophy, Southport away, Gateshead in the FA Trophy again, and finally at Forest Green last Saturday. He got 5 goals for the club, 4 I've listed as crucial to the team. He could have been the man to fill the gap Tutton's departure left. A club like ours will always have to gamble like this. Most clubs up and down the country do. Let's put it another way. When we signed Vardy from Stocksbridge, I said, who? Why are we signing players from teams like this? Came down the share of a tag and the rest they say is history. He won the Premier League last night. The big error Harvey made was not getting cover in at the back. Indeed, loaning Graham Hutchison out for the season for Telford United, again at the time the right decision. A defender who wears an Alice band, Again, though, at the time, defence was sound. Kevin Roberts, James Botton and Scott McManus have been consistent all season. Hibs can fill in at right back when needed. Not a right back, but more than able. Another player loaned out, Hibs of course, but again this time many were happy with that